eastbound between Kingston Springs and Bellevue. We'll have more on this all throughout the morning. Stick around. In the news, Murfreesboro Pike is closed right now. Traffic south of downtown Nashville there, it's all because of flooding that has consumed at least 5 vehicles. We've been watching this on cameras. News 2 reporting that all of the people that were inside of those cars were able to escape. They're flooded out vehicles. Nobody was hurt there. The closure on Murfreesboro Pike is in the area of Foster Avenue near Lester Avenue. And let's talk about power, too, because power is out for thousands of people in the Nashville area. NES has it at more than 6,000 customers in the dark right now. Middle Tennessee Power says there's about 2,000 of their customers who are also in the dark. And, of course, crews are going to be out there working on it. There are at least 3 deaths in the volunteer state associated with this system that parked over us overnight. Tennessee Emergency Management is saying there was 1 death in McNairy County, another in Obion County, and a third in Fayette County. That one came after a tornado struck a home on Sweet Road in Moscow. Other news, the Trump administration is restoring millions of dollars in Title X funds to Tennessee and to Oklahoma. Those funds are for family planning. Title X is the country's only federal program solely dedicated to providing birth control and reproductive health care to low-income Americans. It was in 2023 that President Joe Biden cut those funds off from Tennessee and Oklahoma because the 2 states didn't comply with a rule that requires them to provide abortion referrals. Now, at the same time, the Trump administration has cut off Title X funding for 16 groups, including 9 Planned Parenthood affiliates. We'll take a look at market numbers right now, and they are ugly. Before the opening bell. This is brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com.
To a deep sell-off at the opening bell after President Trump announced the latest round of tariffs on imported goods. Japan's Nikkei fell 3% overnight, leading losses across Asia. On Wednesday, investors eked out advances for the major stock averages, sending the Dow 235 points higher to 42,225. The S&P climbed 0.7%. The Nasdaq Composite tacked on 0.9%. Earlier import fees on foreign-made vehicles are going into effect now. That has Volkswagen set to add an import fee to its sticker price. Cars and trucks made outside the U.S. are being hit with a 25% tariff. New York-based candy company Tony's Chocolonely is recalling some Tony's brand dark almond sea salt bars and everything bars sold in stores and online. The company says customers have found some small stones in bars that were not filtered out during almond harvesting. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Now, taking a look at futures this morning, these numbers are kind of stunning. And this all comes, of course, after the Trump tariff announcement of yesterday. The Dow futures right now, minus 1,239 points. NASDAQ futures are down 786. We've got S&P futures minus 200 points. We'll keep an eye on that all morning long. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, the biggies here are that we've got some closures in Kingston Springs on 40 eastbound between Kingston Springs, Ashland City exit, and Bellevue. It is closed this morning. There's a tractor trailer that drove into a wall, and they're trying to clear that out. Also this morning on 65, both directions, north and southbound, as you're approaching the eastbound I-440 ramp. That's closed off because of flooding on I-440 itself. Now, you've got it flooded out on 440 in the two left lanes heading eastbound, in the two left lanes blocked off on 440 westbound at exit 5. That's the overturned vehicle that we've been looking at on cameras this morning. It's still on on the top. It's still turned over there, and they've closed that part of the highway off as well. A stalled out tractor trailer on 40 westbound side at Hermitage Avenue. In fact, it's two stalled out semi trucks that are waiting for a wrecker. So the right lane is blocked off on 40 westbound at Hermitage Avenue. And then you've got problems at the eastern split, 24 westbound, the off ramp to I-40 westbound this morning, a crash there. The off ramp through lanes are all blocked off. Got a crash in Glencliff, the left shoulder block 24 westbound at Briley Parkway, and then traveling out by the airport, 40 the eastbound lanes past Briley Parkway east. It's a crash, and the left shoulder is blocked off by a crash of a car into a wall. Whew, traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.609 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you very much for joining us. Wow. Hey, Joan.
Yes.
I didn't catch all that traffic report. Can you repeat that?
Fat chance, buddy.
Man, I got to tell you that there is horrible traffic and horrible flooding all across Middle Tennessee. We've got people that are getting stalled out in the in the flooded streets, and we've got high water everywhere. We do still, by the way, have storms in Murray County, Rutherford County, hail, heavy rain, Williamson County as well. So the rain is not stopping.
Also, a story that I just spotted on Fox 17 this morning. A person struck by lightning. This happened Nashville Green Hills neighborhood, struck at the Hilton on Cleghorn Avenue. That person had been standing outside when they were struck. Don't know the extent of their injuries, but this just points to some of the dangers associated with these storms. It's not expected, of course, and this person was outside at the time. Crazy stuff there.
Did they say what time it was?
This story, let's see, this story came down, if I can get rid of that, 3:08 this morning.
Okay.
So it was earlier.
If you recall, at 3:08, hopefully most folks were in bed, but it's been a long night for everybody. Lightning and thunder was absolutely insane.
It was insane.
And if you're just waking up and you're tuning into Nashville's Morning News, we've been on the air for hours and hours. We just gave Matt Murphy permission to go to bed. But, I mean, it was probably one of the worst storms that I've ever seen. And I've been in Nashville for like 11 years now, and we get some bad storms. It was like a wall of water was just falling. And you couldn't see Chad Benson was on with us. He was talking about how you literally could not even see across the street. And so we've had, when I was driving in about midnight, I think it's about 11 o'clock, whatever time it was, and the ground, the sky to ground lightning was just insane. And the lightning, you know how you see lightning and it kind of like a spider web across the sky?
Yeah.
We had some of that as well. And so it does seem to me, anyway, like the only, and Joan, correct me if I'm wrong, KGB, correct me if I'm wrong, But the only thing that we really have going on right now in our listening area, we've got thunderstorms and all that. But the only thing that is going on right now is what we have been seeing, and we've been covering it in Murray County. We had this situation in Spring Hill, Thompson Station. It's pushing off towards the northeast now, going into Rutherford County. We had a lot of heavy rain in Williamson County as well. Got some hail. But as far as I can tell, aside from scattered rain all across Middle Tennessee, of course, is there anything else that is beyond the usual thunderstormy kind of stuff?
No, not that I'm seeing.
Yeah, right now in WSMV4, they're talking about cars are submerged underwater right now.
Yeah,
That's that spot on Murfreesboro Pike.
Yeah.
That we were talking about. I'm counting 5 cars up to the top of their doors. Just crazy. But the good news is in that spot, everybody got out okay. There's no problems. I did see a lot of people that were standing outside watching what was going on. And I'm thinking, don't they get it that there's lightning? It was a pretty scary situation there for a while.
Yeah, and we don't know if the guy that got struck by lightning, we don't know how he's doing.
We don't. I'm going to dig into that and see if I can find out more.
Yeah.
Just somebody else also said that Highway 70, let me see if I can get that back. Yeah, Highway 70 in Belmead is closed. Police blocking the road. That was from our super texter 6076. Some of this stuff didn't make it onto the screen because there's just so much.
We have and we have so many super texts that are coming in. By the way, thank you for all the super texts.
Yes, love
and
that.
Thank you for all of the phone calls. Highway 70 closed in Belmead. Police blocking the road. Joan is on fire, somebody said.
Somebody said that, yeah.
You know, Joan, if you're on fire, go outside. There's a lot of water.
Yeah, but it's really sticky and warm outside.
Oh, it's gross.
Yeah, it is.
I walked out early this morning, and it's like, when did I move to Florida? Yeah. I mean, it was like that, and really, again, sticky and gross. Somebody 40 eastbound at 188 is closed, but that was about 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I do wonder is an I-40 at Fessler's Lane is notorious for flooding. I do wonder, do most people know where in their area the flooding happens? I would assume that they do.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the deal, is that because of the way that this storm, and if you're just joining us, because of the way this storm parked itself, it literally parked itself over Nashville for like hours. And it just sort of was quasi-stationary, as somebody said. And it just kept dumping water and dumping water and dumping water. And as now they're reporting some radar-indicated rotation. It looks like, Joan, east of Smyrna, north of Murfreesboro, and west of Las Casas. So
about to hit Las Casas 617. And it's taking a track toward Watertown.
Yep, it looks like Las Casas, 617, Milton, 624, Watertown, looks like that's going to be 630. Yep, 630. Stonewall at 646, and Buffalo Valley, wherever that is, at 652. We're going to see a lot of this over the next couple of, really, honestly, Joan, it's like the next couple of days.
Yes.
The next couple of days, we are going to be, looking at the TV, looking at our radar, looking at our phones, and collecting all of this data. And it's going to show the, radar indicated activity. One
thing to note here, I'm not sure if it's a problem with our operations here or not. But I ran into this earlier this morning. When I first woke up, I logged into our internet to listen to us on the internet. And it just ran about 30 minutes of commercials. And I'm seeing on the super text line that a lot of people are saying that the app is just running commercials. They're not getting us at all. I think we're going to need some...
KGB, can you get on that?
We're going to need some help.
So I've contacted the Cumulus authorities.
KGB in the other room?
No, I actually, but I mean, here's the problem. And by the way, we are still seeing some rotation in Spring Hill.
Yes.
So they're talking about 619, Harpeth, Bethesda, Paytonsville at 623, McDaniel 627, Patterson, 632, and Almaville at 635. And just so this is going to be all day. This is going to be all day where we're going to be seeing this, radar indicated rotation. We're not under any tornado warnings right now. That's the good part. By the way,
It's the same spots, too. This is at,
yeah, it is. You're right, Joan.
it's what is that, 840 and
840.
65?
Yep.
Right at that corner. It's the same exact location as earlier.
We have a commercial break. No, we got to take traffic right now. 617 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Thank you, Christy. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As far as your weather goes, I mean, I don't have my official weather forecast in front of me, but it's going to be raining. It's going to be a lot of rain. There's going to be a lot of wind, a lot of hail that's going to continue. By the way, people are calling up KGB. If you want to, we're going to go ahead and take some calls. 615-737-9986. And Joan, you were talking about the patterns, the weather patterns. Couple of things. We had at least 2 or 3 systems where they literally walked in the same footprint, if you know what I mean.
Yes, it did.
And the second one, I think it was the second one, where it literally just it stalled. And so that's why we have the situation that we are in right now.
They're saying that system, that cell that we were just talking about, that looks like there's some rotation near the Spring Hill area.
Yep.
That is a severe storm warning. Rutherford, Williamson counties. They're talking about that storm has the potential of spinning off a tornado.
Yep.
1-inch size hail. So yeah, there's just plenty. I mean, there's more coming.
There is more coming, and phone lines are open and ringing. 615-737-9986. East of Thompson Station is another place where we are seeing some radar indicated rotation. One of the things, and people are talking about the app. I don't know which app is not working. I don't. But I hesitate to say what I'm about to say, but I've kind of given up on the apps.
Yeah.
I have not listened to our app in forever.
So
once you hit YouTube and you can see how good YouTube runs, or the radio,
right.
That's what I go to. So if you're utilizing the app and it's not working, folks, friends, download the YouTube app. And not only can you listen to us, but you can also see Joan Jones.
Oh, gosh.
People are saying the app is working again.
Yep.
Oh, are they? Was that flurry of phone calls?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, 6282 just said a tornado in Spring Hill started right over the Fainting Goat on Main Street. I saw it forming. That must be freaky.
Well, the goat fainted. I have no idea where.
Get out.
Yeah.
I have no idea where the faint. But,
right.
but it obviously not a.
It's on Main Street.
Well, people are always stuck on Main Street
Yeah.
in Spring Hill. Don't get me started on that. But okay, so he said he saw a tornado, but then did it just go back up? I mean, there's not a tornado right now that we can see.
There's not. No. But
Okay.
yeah.
East of Thompson Station right now, northeast of Spring Hill, north of Bethesda. That is where we are seeing radar indications of rotation. No real indication of, obviously, a tornado. So just remember, and we've all been through this a million times, friends, that when we say there is radar indicated rotation, all that means is that it looks like there's some rotation. Nothing is dropped onto the ground. If we say something like a tornado has been spotted on the ground, then that's when, we'll say it's on the ground. But if we just say radar indicated rotation, that just means that it looks like we saw some rotation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a tornado is about to drop on you or it has dropped to the ground. But it does mean that you need to get to your safe space.
Yeah. It looks like on the radar, it looks like little dots that show that there's some debris in the air.
Okay.
But that may not be accurate.
Right. Right.
Also, the power outages. Holy cow. Tema says 15,000.
15,000.
Yeah, across the state.
Okay.
Nashville Electric has 6,400. Dixon Electric 2,000. Middle Tennessee 740. That looked like more just a couple of minutes ago to me. Tri-County Electric 430. There's just a ton of outages.
Okay. And friends, if you are in the east of Thompson Station area, Arrington, Patterson, Almaville, this activity that is right now is sort of east and northeast of Spring Hill, and it is heading east and northeast as we say, then you need to know that this is coming your way. It is 622 now, 623 Paytonsville. It's going to be on top of you, this activity. Rudderville at 626, Arrington 628, Triune at 631, 633 Patterson, 636 is Almaville, 641 Blackman, and then at 644 ish, that's going to be in Murfreesboro. So that's the track of this storm that we are currently watching. All we're saying is that it is a little bit of rotation, but it doesn't mean that a tornado is about to drop. But you need to start thinking about, your safe spaces and where to go into your home and all that kind of stuff. So with that, the phone lines are open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. It looks like also east of Smyrna, north of Las Casas. There is also a little bit of rotation there as well. So we still have some pockets of disturbances, Joan Jones. It is 623. Go ahead.
I'm watching this one that's parked right over 840 right now between 65 and heading up to the Almaville area. There is that storm has just been tagged with the tornado possible. It's just a storm warning at this point, a severe storm warning, but they tagged it with that possible tornado. Could be spun out of that. So again, it's parked right over 840. I would imagine that's a miserable drive right now. 840 from 65 up to the Almaville area.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. And by the way, if you're in that area or any area that is getting weather, call us and give us an update. Or if you're stuck out on the roadways, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Joan Jones, we do have the newscast coming up at 6:30. What's coming up?
Yeah, we'll take a look at what's happening with this storm and where it's about to go, and also some deaths associated with it. That's all coming up next here. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here. Listen, we all know what just happened here in the last couple of days, and we all know what's coming. If your roof was destroyed in one of these storms, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? If you don't know, because it's top of mind right now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask, because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement costs. My friends at King & Associates, they will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have to replace a 20-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they do pay for it to be replaced, period. Because the older your roof, some of these other insurance companies, they're not going to cover that full replacement cost. Thousands of dollars could be on the line. Call my friends at King & Associates Insurance, 615-329-8121. Get your Royal Review, tkinginsurance.com, 615-329-8121. 627 Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here. You know, my backyard is my oasis. I know a lot of you folks feel that way. If you've got some trees, some bushes, some plants, or some shrubs that need some tending to, my friends at Save a Tree, they can help them if you need pruning, if they need to be nursed back to health. Save a Tree can do it for you. SAVATREE. SaveAtree.com. These folks are actual arborists who can do wonders for your back or your front yard. SAVATREE. SaveAtree.com, really important. You can also find them by simply dialing pound 250 on your smart device and say the keyword Save a Tree. That's pound 250, keyword Save a Tree. .628 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening. Joan Jones has the news coming up in about a minute and a half. Super text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Weather does continue to roll through Middle Tennessee. It sounds like it's raining in Nashville, as a matter of fact. Are you hearing that too? So we got rain in Nashville, and Joan, we're talking about a particular cell that was leaving the area of Thompson Station and heading up towards Murfreesboro. I don't know if you're still looking at that line of storms, but that is still impactful, and we do still, you know, it feels like things have obviously calmed down from overnight and earlier this morning. We're not still out of the woods yet, though. Murfreesboro is about to get hit. Clarksville, Waverly, Paris, Gallatin, you've got some rain coming your way as well. So we do still have some threats, and we've got them all for you right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And of course, the top story this morning is our weather. Tennessee Emergency Management telling us that 3 people have died as a result of the storms that produced tornadoes in areas of Tennessee overnight.
The twister that heavily damaged the town of Lake City, Arkansas, struck before sunset Wednesday and was captured on video by Xander Lopez.
I turned the corner around that tornado shelter, and there it is, just coming straight for us, getting larger and larger.
The storms moved east into Tennessee, where the State Department of Health says 2 people have died as a result of the severe weather.
And actually, that number is 3 people. ABC's Jim Ryan reporting there. Tennessee Emergency Management tells us that one of the deaths was McNairy County, another one in Obion County, and there was a third in Fayette County. And they can directly associate that one with a tornado that struck a home on Sweet Road in Moscow overnight. Of course, we're staying on top of this storm as it continues to cause some problems. Looks like there is another storm cell that is headed to the area of Almaville this morning on the 840 area. Seems to be getting a soaker right now between the area of 65 and Almaville as that storm system continues to move. It should be in Arrington by 6:35 in Nolensville. Other news overnight, the president of the EU Commission, her name is Ursula von der Leyen, hit back at those newly announced tariffs from President Trump in a video posted overnight to X. Her response, von der Leyen saying that Europe is prepared for the impact of the tariffs, and they've already begun discussion on how to mitigate the expected hit in the automotive, steel, and pharmacy industries.
We will stand together and stand up for each other. Our unity is our strength.
Now, the announced tariffs last night, they were announced after the market closed. Wall Street had a good day yesterday, but this morning we're looking at losses on the futures market of 1,200 points for the Dow. The NASDAQ futures are down 760. The S&P futures there down 194. That's a little more than 3%, about 3.5% on the S&P 500 futures index. We're going to keep an eye on that as well as we approach the opening bell. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Speaking of Joan, by the way, real quick, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning now for Davidson, Rutherford, and Williamson counties until 7 o'clock this morning. 6:32 on Nashville's Morning News. By the way, I'm looking at the forecast for the next 4 days. Today, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow.
Storms. Every single day. So,
all of us are going to be exhausted by the end of this.
We sure are.
Watching and watching.
That's all right. We'll get through it, and we'll all get through it together. 6:32, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. You know, of course, we all know the weather in Middle Tennessee can get crazy, and that is what we are experiencing right now, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Earlier, Joan was talking about how we got, 15,000 people or so that were without power. You need a backup home standby generator. Get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark, friends. Financing is available. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Okay, so settle in. This is long. We've got an accident in Glencliff on 24 eastbound side before Briley Parkway, and the 3 right lanes have been blocked off by it. Also, it is closed this morning on 40, the eastbound side, Kingston Springs up to Bellevue. And that's because of a tractor trailer that crashed into a wall. Looks like they're trying to clear that out this morning. And a crash on 24, the westbound side at I-40. The off-ramp through lanes have been blocked off. Looks like it says here that the drivers have been going through the Gore at Murfreesboro Pike on-ramp to get around that. The golf club in Cheatham County, the road is washed out, South Harpeth Road between the golf club, the country club road there, and Lubin Hills Road. I hope I'm saying that right. Also, Kingston Springs, South Harpeth Road. The road has buckled because of the high water. It's north of Webb Ridge. So you've got a lot of places there to consider this morning staying away from. There is a flash flood warning right now in Nashville in the areas of Davidson, Rutherford, Wilson, Williamson, and Sumner counties. Got to watch for that high water on the roads this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:36, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here for Dr. Horn. You know, my vision had been getting worse for years. I knew that I needed to make a change. I knew that I needed vision correction. And I got it with my friends at Dr. Horn and Vision for Life. Now, I did my research, and I did find out that Dr. Horn and Vision for Life, their reviews are incredible, with many people sharing life-changing stories about their procedures. Listen, if you're thinking about vision correction, go to my guy, Dr. Horn, 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and welcome on into Nashville's Morning News. Joan, I'm sure you got the same warnings that I did.
Yeah.
We are back to tornado warnings for Hickman, Lewis, Murray County, and also Williamson County. So they're saying tornado radar indicated Hickman, Lewis, Murray, Williamson County. That is until 7 o'clock this morning, and so that's going to be 20 minutes from now. Severe storm warning. We had that earlier for some heavy rains as well. So unfortunately, we find ourselves in the position where we're talking about some more tornado warnings. I don't know that I've seen
this
where
footprint,
there's any possible rotation.
This footprint back at the area of Hohenwald.
Yep.
Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
The Hohenwald area. Their velocity tracker says that, and by the way, this is exactly the same footpath that we've been seeing all morning long. How many times have storms rolled through the same exact area? So it begins there in Hohenwald, brings it into the, let's see, Santa Fe. Is that?
Yep, Santa Fe.
Santa Fe at 7:01. Before that, though, it gets to, let's see, Etna at 6:38, so that's already passed. Greenfield Bend at 6:51. It makes it to Williamsport at 6:54. Now, this is just the storm itself. It's not saying that there is any rotation associated with this, but there is a warning, a tornado warning. Hickman, Lewis, Murray, Williamson counties until 7 o'clock this morning because of this system that just sort of popped off in the same area again this morning.
You know, just, Joan, when you think that you can breathe and you can relax, another one comes in.
Yeah.
Another system comes in. So we'll keep you folks updated. Do we see, I'm trying to see, Is it still raining here in Nashville? I don't know if it's still raining here in Nashville, but
I just noticed that lights flashed a little bit. Did you see that?
no, I didn't.
In my studio, I don't know.
Okay. What's the same? It's the same system that,
You would
that
think.
functions our app, just so you know, Joan.
Well, that explains a lot.
Moving right along.
Yeah.
615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. I want to, Joan, do you have your radar up in your studio? I've got so many different apps open.
I do
but
too.
I want to see, looks like right now it's 6:42. So it looks like right now we have some heavy rain around the airport. We've also got rain basically all over the place. It is not letting up
No.
in a lot of these different places. Right now we've got Hohenwald is getting hit. This is going to be, as it moves north to east, Centerville is about to get hit as well. Fairview, Bellevue. I mean, we keep saying these
The
same
same
cities.
places, yes.
It is actually pretty amazing. And it's going to just keep continuing. Again, north to east. And eventually, Brentwood and Franklin, you're going to get a lot of rain. I don't know if Spring Hill is going to get hit the way that they did, maybe an hour or so ago. But we'll have to wait and see what happens there. It looks like, in looking at the radar, it just looks like there is a lot of, as we would say, yellow, which is rain, but there's also just splotches of red everywhere. And of course, the splotches of red are where you are going to see very, very heavy rain, possible tornadic weather as well, obviously. But because we do still have the tornado warning till 7, Hickman, Lewis, Murray, and Williamson counties, as Joan said, we don't see any place where there is actual radar indicated rotation, but just that the
There is the
elements
potential.
are ripe for tornadic activity.
So 644 right now, they're saying that area of concern will be over Bond at 645. So 1 minute from now, good time to get into a place of shelter. Kettle Mills at 649, Little Lot at 653, Santa Fe at 7 o'clock. And then looking all the way past, if it stays together, this area of concern will be over Franklin at 7:20 this morning.
Okay. And also, did you say 7:20?
7:20.
So they've extended it.
Apparently. You know how they pull out and they check the track of the storm.
Right.
They're saying if it stays together,
Yes.
that's going to be the area that it hits.
Yeah, Little Lot. I see where you're looking at now. Little Lot. This is going to be, as this cell is heading northeast, it's going to hit Highway 100, Highway 48, in Hohenwald. You've got 412 in there as well. This is kind of north of Columbia. So north of Columbia, so that means that Thompson Station may get hit. Spring Hill may get hit. We'll have to wait and see where this goes and if it does hold it together. Let's see. 706 Santa Fe, Boston 718, 725 Thompson Station, Franklin 734, Brentwood 746, Nashville 755, and Smyrna at 803. So again, here we are again with yet another line of storms that we're going to be dealing with here for the next at least hour or so. So we're going to continue on with what we do. We do have a lot of rain on the, a lot of water on the roadways, a lot of high water, a lot of flooding as well. We got two situations right now. We do have the tornado warnings in Murray. Let's see, it's not Murray County. What is it, Joan? Help me out. Where are we at?
We are at, it's north of Hohenwald.
Hickman, Lewis, Murray, and Williamson County.
There you go.
All right.
Thank
We've got that. We've got flooding all across Middle Tennessee as well. Most of the schools, if not all the schools, are closed today, and as they should be. And we've got a lot of roads that are closed as well because of that flooding. We've got accidents all across Middle Tennessee. As a matter of fact, it is time for a check on the roads on WTN. 647, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Rain, bad weather, severe weather, off and on all day long here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN right now. 65 degrees. Part of the weather dynamic that we've been feeling, Joan, and experiencing is that when I walked out this morning at, it was like 11:30, midnight when I was coming into the station.
Wow, you came in early.
I sure did. And man, it was like I walked out and it was really warm. It was like I was in Florida.
Yeah.
By the way, Spring Hill, our friends in Spring Hill, it looks like you're just going to get touched with with a corner of this storm. But really right now, we've got Little Lot, which I'm not sure where exactly that is, except it's going to be west of Spring Hill. Santa Fe. Are we saying that right, Santa Fe?
That's what I've heard you guys say all morning
Me
long,
and Matt
so
were
I'm
saying
counting
Santa
on
Fe.
you.
But a person on the super text line, 4702, says it's Santa Fe. I don't think it's Santa Fe. I don't know. You know what? How do you say Santa Fe? Is it Santa Fe or Santa Fe?
If you're in New Mexico, it's Santa Fe.
Well, I know it's in whatever. Anyway, moving right along. So this storm that we're watching is headed towards Franklin. It's going to hit Thompson Station as well in the next few minutes. This is a tornado warning that is active. You've got Hickman, Lewis, Murray County, Williamson County as well. And right now, what we're really talking about is Murray County and Williamson County, as Franklin and Thompson Station are in the crosshairs of this storm. Again, this is an active tornado warning. However, we have not seen any rotation. But if you're traveling along, 65 in Franklin and some of these other areas, then you got to know that this storm is headed your way and it's going to be on you here in the next few minutes. I think we have a. Do we have a? Yes,
we have a determination of how to say it. It's Pamela, our friend Pamela tells us it's fee.
I knew I was right.
Fee.
4702 gets into my head because
don't let anyone get in your head.
You're saying it wrong. I knew I was right. Thank you, Pamela. For once, she admits that I'm right. 6:55. I'm just kidding, Pamela. 6:55. A Little Lot, which is coming up in the next 6 minutes. Santa Fe at 7:06. The little town of Boston at 7:18. Thompson Station, our friends in Thompson Station. This storm, this cell, is going to hit you at 7:25. Franklin at 7:34. 7:46 Brentwood. 7:55 Nashville. And 8:03 is when it's going to hit Smyrna. So we're going to keep an eye on this. And if you want to call in and tell us your experience, whether it is out on the roadways, a lot of flooding, you can go ahead and call us at 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. And at 6:50, Joan Jones, you've got the newscast coming up at 7.
Yeah, we certainly do. We're going to go over the areas of the roadways that are closed off this morning. We have some deaths associated with the storm system that have just moved through. Also, President Trump did those, the tariffs yesterday. He did them after the markets closed. Wall Street had a great day yesterday. Woof, what it's doing to the futures this morning. We'll detail all of that coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$6:51 on WTN. Dan Mattis here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. It is spring rebate madness at Busy Bee. You can always find them online, busybeehvac.com. Mini split 17 SEER or heat pump 17 SEER, that is going to net you an $800 rebate from Busy Bee. Heat pumps 15 and 16 SEER, that is a $500 rebate as well. They're always looking for ways to save you money at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, duct sealing or repair. That, my friends, is a $300 rebate. So, my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, always looking for ways to save you money. Join the Beehive Club. Check it all out. busybeehvac.com. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. 6:55, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. I want to, first of all, tornado warnings, Hickman, Lewis, Murray, and Williamson County. And, right now, Little Lot and Santa Fe, those two communities are getting hit right now. It is traveling, this cell, if you will, is traveling northeast and is traveling towards Thompson Station and Franklin. Those two communities are really going to get hit. The timeline is 7:25 to 7:34, Franklin 7:34, Thompson Station 7:25. Brentwood, you're going to get hit roughly around 7:46. Then it'll hit Nashville and Smyrna. Nashville at 7:55 and Smyrna at 8:03. Now, these tornado warnings in Hickman, Lewis, Murray, and Williamson, a little bit of conflicting reports. I'm still seeing that Channel 5 is saying that it's going to, those warnings are going to end at 7, Joan. What are you seeing as far as when they're going to end? And they could extend them, by the way.
That's as far as I've seen that they're going to end at 7 o'clock.
You have? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Because I was getting some conflicting information. I want to talk about the roads real quick.
Yeah.
Because and KGB's got the TDOT website up. Can we talk about 24? Because 24, it looks awful. And I realize that 24 always is terrible, but I mean, I don't think it's usually this terrible. And talk about it, KGB, going into the downtown loop and all that.
Yeah, so on the eastern split, flooding with the off-ramp, through lanes are blocked. That's I-24 westbound. That's the off-ramp to westbound I-40, exit 52. And then another accident in Glencliff. The right 3 lanes are blocked. That's I-24 eastbound before Briley Parkway South, exit 54. So 2 massive little blockages from westbound and eastbound in separate areas.
And that 24, I mean, that is backed up. Looks like once you pass Antioch Pike on 24, that is where you're going to slow down. And then a little bit beyond Antioch Pike, heading west on 24 towards 40. I mean, you're just absolutely stopped. And so that is how long does that stuff usually take, KGB, to clear up?
Usually, if there's only like 2 lanes blocked, it'll take maybe an hour or 2. But when 3 lanes blocked because of an accident, that's going to take a while.
Yeah,
And
24 eastbound, multi-vehicle crash at mile marker 53.
Yeah.
That is right before 155, which is
That might take all morning, I'm going to be
Thompson
honest.
Lane.
And then the one with the flooding with the off-ramp blocked on I-24 westbound, which is just as dangerous in that area because of that flooding. That might be the rest of the day. So just be wary because if the rain continues, that flooding's not going to hold up. That flooding's not going to stop.
Yeah, that is very true. And I'm looking also KGB, over at 65. 65 is really busy.
No
Battery
access.
Lane, 65, which is like Highway 255. And it is like stopped. Heading northbound, 65 past Armory, all the way up towards Berry Hill and the interchange with 440.
Yeah, that's because of 440's closures at the moment, and also just because of the weather, people are just stopping. There's no actual accidents to report on 65. It's just because the weather has been so heavy that people are slowing down, and then 440 is having their own issues, and that's the reason it's slowed down
All
as
right.
much.
Now we got everybody say your prayers and keep your fingers crossed. We got 71 seconds before they hopefully allow these tornado warnings to expire in Hickman, Lewis, Murray, and Williamson County. Doesn't mean we don't have storms headed your way, but it would be nice if those tornado warnings would expire. We'll keep you updated. It is 7 o'clock. Nashville's Morning News on... What do you... Oh,
Sorry. No.
are you ready, Joan?
I'm trying to do 17 things at once,
You
and
and me
sometimes
both.
it doesn't work. So, yeah, let's just go to news. We're good.
Okay, we're good. It is 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, hello there, 7 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, Tennessee Emergency Management telling us that 3 people have died as a result of the storms that produced tornadoes in areas of Tennessee overnight. All right. So now there's a malfunction of everything in this studio.
Okay.
ABC's Jim Ryan telling us that there were 3 people, according to Tennessee Emergency Management. There was a death in McNairy County, one in Fayette County, the other in Obion County. And by the way, before any of this got started last night, Governor Bill Lee and the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency issued a state of emergency, and the governor issued an emergency declaration. Now, that one allows the state to take measures to protect citizens and expedite assistance. Now, as for the tornadoes, the western portion of the state. Now, the federal government, other news this morning, the federal government job cuts, they accelerated last month, exceeded only by when the country shut down in 2020 for the COVID pandemic. That's according to a new report from the job placement firm Challenger Gray and Christmas. Various reports saying that the Veterans Affairs Department could lose some 80,000 jobs. The IRS is in line for an 18,000 job cut. And Treasury is expected to drop a substantial level of workers as well, according to a court filing. The Trump administration is restoring millions of dollars in Title X funds to Tennessee and to Oklahoma. Those funds are for family planning. Title X is the country's only federal program that's solely dedicated to providing birth control and reproductive health care to low-income Americans. Well, it was in 2020 that President Joe Biden cut off those funds to Tennessee and Oklahoma because they didn't comply with a rule that requires the states to provide abortion referrals. Now, there's reaction this morning after President Trump announced that new round of tariffs that'll affect everything from imports into the United States, the first set, and across the board 10% tariff, and then extra tariffs on imports to about 60 countries.
It's fell sharply this morning, and we're seeing a strong reaction from European leaders to Donald Trump's tariffs. The EU Commission president has said that Donald Trump has caused chaos and complexity. She has warned of dire consequences to the world economy and the lives of millions of people around the world.
That's ABC News chief international correspondent James Longman. Meantime, in Washington, the Senate passing a measure that would curtail the president's ability to invoke some tariffs. That bill is co-sponsored by Republican Senator Rand Paul, and it challenges the president's declaration of a national emergency that gives him the power to put tariffs in place. The measure passed by a 51-48 vote in the Senate, but it looks like that is where it may die.
While it is noteworthy, the House would have to take it up and pass it for it to become law, and the House is almost certain not to act on this.
That is ABC's Jay Bryan reporting. Now, we're watching the stock futures this morning because we had a nice day on Wall Street yesterday. It was after the close that the president announced the tariffs. So we're looking right now at Dow futures down 1,220 points. That's just about 3%. Over at the NASDAQ futures, it's down 769. That's nearly 4%. The S&P 500 futures, they're down 193. That's down 3.38%. We'll keep an eye on it as we get closer to the opening bell. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so some closures this morning, some flooded roadways. Be careful out there. Got a crash on 24 eastbound side of Briley Parkway South. That's exit 54. And the right lane is blocked off by it. Kingston Springs, it is closed on 40, the eastbound lanes between Kingston Springs exit and Bellevue exit. Again, we've been watching this traffic accident all morning long. That's a tractor trailer that went into a wall near the Harpeth River. And so they've closed that down to clean it up. 24, the westbound side, there is flooding this morning. This is what we were talking about earlier, right at the I-40 exit. That's 52A and B. And the flooding there is blocking the off-ramp through lanes. It looks like drivers are taking an area that they're taking the Gore at Murfreesboro Pike at the on-ramp there to get around it. One car crash in Mount Juliet. This is on 40, the westbound side of Golden Bear Gateway, Beckwith Road. That's exit 229. Looks like they're saying that a car hydroplaned into a wall. So let that be informative for you, because you've got areas where you will be hydroplaning this morning. It's going to cause some issues. And out at the golf club in Cheatham, some weather-related issues. They're not saying exactly what that means, but it's due to the storms that have passed through the area this morning. Be careful as you drive. We also, by the way, have a flash flood warning, and that is for Davidson, Rutherford, Wilson, Williamson, and Sumner counties until 10:30 this morning. We're not talking about a watch. We're talking about a flash flood warning, the more serious of the two that the National Weather Service will issue. Be careful this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.708, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. How are you? All right, so it is 7:08. Joan Jones, I have not heard of any continuance of the tornado warnings for Hickman, Lewis, Murray, and Williamson County. So
No.
were they allowed to expire?
I think they've been allowed to expire. So what I'm looking at, and this is the most current information from the National Weather Service, and here's what we have. It's a flash flood warning, and this is for southeastern Davidson County. We're going to go through the whole thing here. Northwestern Rutherford County, southeastern Sumner County, northeastern Williamson County, northwestern Williamson County, and that one goes on till 10:30 this morning. And again, that's a flash flood warning. They're saying that it is likely that there will be some flooded out spots this morning. Then you've got, a flood watch that remains this morning for a big slice of Middle Tennessee, and that one goes on for most of this one goes through Sunday morning. So that's a long time one. And a tornado watch. So this is not a tornado warning. This one is a tornado watch for many different areas of Middle Tennessee: Bedford, Davidson, Giles, not sure how you say it, Lawrence, Marshall, Perry, Rutherford, Trousdale, Wilson. I'm going to go through the whole list: Cannon, DeKalb, Hickman, Lewis, Murray, Pickett, Smith, Wayne, Clay, Fentress, Jackson, Macon, Overton, Putnam, Sumner, and Williamson counties. That one will expire at 8 o'clock this morning for all of those areas.
All right. We'll have to see if they allow them to expire. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. What a mess on the roads. Also, we didn't talk about this in the news, but I do want to let you know that there are so many power outages. Pretty crazy this morning. At least 4,800 if you're talking about just NES. But you've got many more in all of the other areas this morning that are just causing some big problems because you're looking at some of the power to the traffic lights being out as well.
Yep.
So those intersections where you come up onto that, have some grace, let other people go first. It's going to be, trusting the other guy too, which is hard to do in times like this.
Well, it's interesting. If you look at the traffic map, so power outages, got it. If you look at the traffic map, we're talking about the mess that is 65, the mess that is 24 because of, the trucks that spun out and so forth.
Yeah.
All the other highways, like 40 West, looks fine. I mean, take it slow.
Sure.
But there's one part of 40, I don't know exactly where it is, but it floods big time. But by and large, if you have to go into work today, keep it slow. Be prepared in case you end up getting stuck or stranded. And if you see high water, again, turn around, don't drown. I can't say it enough, right? I thought it was interesting. And hold on. Oh, you know what? Martin is called up. We're taking calls. If you want to call up, 615-737-9986. We have a couple of big stories today. Obviously, the weather is a big one. We're going to get to one of the other ones here in a second. But Martin is calling up on, he wants to talk about the closure on 65. Hey, Martin.
Yeah, I'm up here about exit 79 on 65 North. Got a sign that says 65 North closed at exit 80, 1 mile ahead. Is the interstate closed or the exit closed? Or
what area is that in? I'm not familiar. What area is that?
It's where 65 comes into 840.
Okay.
I mean 440.
Yeah, it does look like there's a black line as you look at that map, the traffic map in that area this morning. So, yes, it looks like it is closed. Can I confirm what it is? No, because the traffic center has not told us. Here we go. Justin, thank you so much for that information. It's Berry Hill area, 65 north at I-440. It's flooding, so they've closed off all of the lanes northbound. Vehicles are being detoured onto the 440 ramp. And again, that's all flooding in that area this morning.
So I just went back onto the traffic map.
Yeah.
That's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's backing up a long way very quickly.
That's what I need to know.
Where are you? Where are you, Martin?
I am sitting in this very huge backup right here where all lanes are closed and going very slow, trying to ease over to get to the exit because I didn't know where the exit was closed or the interstate. So
it looks like
exit's open, so that helps me out a whole lot. I do appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
I'm looking at one of the cameras right now, 65 northbound at Harding Place. It looks like that's where it begins. So quite a ways back that this delay starts this morning. That's Harding Place as well. Let's go back even further. Hogan Road. Does that sound right? Hogan Road, 65 northbound. That looks like that's the start of this delay that's headed all the way up to 440.
All right, very good. Thank you, Joan.
And the gentleman that called in.
Yes, it's Giles County, by the way.
Thank you.
I didn't want to stop your roll because you're going really well, and you got some of the other hard ones like Fentress. You nailed all those.
Yeah.
It is Giles County.
Yeah, that's what happens when you send a girl from New Jersey.
Oh, no, you're doing great.
Smacking in the middle of Tennessee.
Listen, I still shank stuff all the time, as everyone clearly knows. All right, let's see here. Where do we want to go now? It is 7:15. I mean, I feel like we just did traffic. Let's do traffic. Then we're going to talk about, Joan, the other big story of the day.
Are you talking tariffs?
I am.
Yeah.
And what's going on with the markets. Oh, my Lord.
Yep.
I don't know.
It's pretty ugly.
Yeah, it is. All right. So, KGB, let's do the traffic real quick on WTN. $65 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Also, real quick, because a lot of people keep talking about flooding. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Joan, did we ever figure out, real quick, did we ever figure out what is going on out at BNA?
As far as traffic goes?
Yeah. Well, as far as flights.
Flights. Okay. Yes, I do have information on that, as a matter
Doug
of fact.
Kuffner, who is our friend over there at BNA, he is the president and CEO of BNA. And I've asked him to call. Well, you do have Doug.
It would be good to have that.
Yeah, I've asked him to call in. Let me give him the phone
I'm
number.
looking at what was reported on News 2 just a few moments ago, and they're saying 13 canceled flights and 33 delayed flights. That's not a lot. You know, in Southwest America, United, Delta Airlines, those are all the ones that are impacted. But to be honest, I can't say that that's a lot for all that we've just gone through.
No, because earlier there were reports, and I don't know if it was ever actually confirmed, but there were reports that the airport had stopped all flights.
I heard Matt say that, and I didn't see it anywhere.
Well, there he is there. KGB, if you could grab Doug Kuffner. He is in charge of BNA, and he's going to put him on real quick. I want to get his... I'm sorry, I'm calling him Kuffner. It's Krulin. Doug Krulin, president and CEO of the Metropolitan Nashville Airport Authority. Doug, how are you? And I'm sure you've had a really bad day, busy day out at the airport. So, number one, at any point did BNA cancel all flights or like stop all the traffic?
Normally, if there's going to be a stop in traffic, it's the Federal Aviation Administration because they can't get the airplanes in or out due to lightning. So BNA didn't do it, but the FAA would issue ground stops because they can't get airplanes in or out due to the weather conditions.
Got it. And so but at one point you did have a traffic stop or ground stop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, just, and our challenge today, right now, the good news, we made it through the night without any damage to the airfields, both John Toon and BNA. And now it's planes can't get into BNA until planes leave from BNA. And so as these lightning storms go through, there'll be delays here and there.
Well, we were talking about delays earlier, and how many flights have been canceled and how many flights are delayed? I mean, is it safe to say that all the flights are delayed?
A good bit of them, I would say, are delayed. Like if you delayed the 7 o'clock flight, for example, the 10 o'clock can still go at some point. But right now, I think we're running about 30% of the flights are delayed.
Okay, 30% of the flights are delayed. How does this work? Does it depend on the airline if it's impacted and where the airplanes are going and so forth, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the airlines are the ones that normally make the calls on whether a flight's delayed or canceled. And so if the flight to Dallas was supposed to get here, let's say right now at 7:30, but there's lightning over the field, they might delay it in Dallas to get to Nashville so that they can avoid the weather, or the one that is ready to take off, let's say here, if it can get out without worrying about the lightning, it's good to go. If not, they'll delay it X number of minutes. But it starts steamrolling on them later in the day because you're basically swapping one airplane for another airplane.
All right, so the bottom line is people need to check the app, check the website to make sure that their plane is going to be taking off at all today. It sounds like you've got a lot of delays, but do you foresee cancellations as we make it through the day?
I think there'll be some cancellations just because it's too hard for the airlines to get an airplane in and out of here. But your advice is spot on. Check with your airline to see what they're doing with your flight. BNA is open, John Toon's open, and it's safe to be there. But just check on your flight so you don't get inconvenienced more than normal.
Okay, very good. Do you have any questions, Joan?
I don't at the moment. You asked them all.
There
Great
you
job.
go. All right. Thank you, Doug. Very much appreciated. I know you guys are slammed over there at BNA, so always great to have you on and let us know what is going on for folks. So, Doug, have a great day, and we'll talk again soon. It is 7:20 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Apparently, it's still raining hard in a lot of places, and so some folks are saying, so many of these text messages are coming in. 40 eastbound near Kingston Springs. Right lane is going to be closed before Bellevue for a while. Apparently, there is an issue there. Some people are saying that the rain is so heavy that you can't even see the car in front of you. Although, unfortunately, I don't think that person told me where they were driving. But again, Kenny says it's definitely starting to look like 2010. The folks over there at let me read this real quick, and then I got to take a break. But a lot of people are worried about a repeat of the Great Nashville Flood of 2010. Pamela sent this to me, of course, Pamela for our friend. Nashville's Army Corps of Engineers addresses flooding concerns ahead of the heavy rain threat. Now, this was before we had the rain last night, though, because I don't know if they were expecting the the storm to literally park itself over Nashville like we did see in 2010. But they say that officials with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Nashville District are monitoring the risk of severe flooding as Middle Tennessee prepares for several days of heavy rain. They felt like they did not have huge concerns for the upper parts of the Cumberland River near Nashville. Instead, they said higher areas of concern are downstream and mainly to the west of Nashville, like Montgomery and Cheatham counties, according to the Army Corps of Engineers. They say this volume of rain has certainly got our attention and can absolutely cause a lot of problems. There's a lot of unregulated streams, the Harpeth River, the Red River. If you get 5 to 7 inches of rain, you're going to see some flooding. And we have a lot of streets that are closed and a lot of accidents, and 65 and 24, just a mess this morning. So if you don't have to go out, don't. It is 7:22 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan, real quick, if I may, we're going to go from one, epic disaster to another.
Yeah.
How do the futures look?
I'm going to tell you again. I mean, they're actually a little bit better.
Okay.
But by a little bit better, I mean not much. So the Dow futures right now are down 1,155. That represents about 2.72%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at the NASDAQ futures being down make that 3.7%. S&P futures down 3.15%. So we are expecting that when the markets open, you're just not going to want to look at your 401k. That just won't be a good thing to do.
Well, yesterday, I'm going to catch heck for saying this from I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm going to catch heck for saying this from some folks. Yesterday was Liberation Day.
Yep.
Which apparently meant you are liberated from having to worry about your 401k because it's gone. See, that's a joke.
Yeah, thanks for that joke, Dan.
I'll stick to the watches and warnings.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is
Great idea.
7:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So, Joan, I guess I throw it back to you. What's going on in the news coming up at 7:30?
Yeah, we're going to look at there's one particular roadway that's been shut down because of flooding. We'll look at the schools. We'll take a look at what's happening this morning with the known deaths from the storm already happening this morning. Whole bunch of things that we have to tell you about coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.24, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Listen, in days like today, I really appreciate Brentwood Jewelry. Not because days like today make me think about jewelry, but because I think about the Imamali family. For over 50 years, Brentwood Jewelry has been proudly serving the Brentwood community with exceptional style and exceptional deals every day. But they're a family-owned and operated business spanning 3 generations, deeply rooted in our community. Salem Service and Special Forces to his sons, serving as local firefighters. They're first responders. And we depend on our first responders on, especially, of course, every day, but days like today. The Imamali family is dedicated to giving back in a time that is imperative to support local. I want you to shop with my friends at Brentwood Jewelry, 7012 Church Street East, located in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. BrentwoodJewelry.com. Dan Mandis here from my friends at Vision for Life. Listen, they have been celebrating this year 20 years of helping folks see 2020. Since 2005, Dr. Horn has provided thousands of patients, including me, 20/20 or better vision. Dr. Horn's expertise and dedication has made him a leader in cataract, LASIK, and other vision correction surgeries. This is the guy that I went through, and he did an outstanding job with my vision correction surgery. Dr. Horn's commitment to providing the best possible patient experience, in addition to using the most advanced technologies in vision correction, has made Vision for Life one of the premier vision correction centers in the world. Find them online, visionforlife.com. That's visionforlife.com. All right. Hey, everybody on the stream. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching. So we're at the time where I feel like, obviously, the really horrendous tornado watches and warnings, I mean, that's all feels like it's over now. We got a lot of heavy rain and such. This is what every broadcaster, just a peek behind the curtain, behind the scenes, every broadcaster has to face this at some point, which is, when is it time to segue into other material, other content? Because I've got some other stuff that I feel like I should do, and I feel like we're keeping an eye on the weather, but I feel like I want to talk about some other stuff as well. So tell us in the chat, if you're watching on YouTube, tell us in the chat, do you want me to sort of start segueing in other content, or do you want me to stick with the weather? Let me know. Also, 615-737-9986. I'm watching the Super Text line as well. Let me know. Is it time to segue into some other content? Thanks for watching.
Good morning. It is now 7:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Just one note from the National Weather Service, one warning that is still out there this morning, and it's a flash flood warning. This one extends until 10:30, and it's for the areas of southeastern Davidson County, northwestern Rutherford County, southeastern Sumner County, also northeastern Williamson County, and northwestern Wilson County. Those areas, again, under a flash flood warning all the way through 10:30 this morning. Well, Murfreesboro Pike has just reopened up at Lester Avenue. There were 5 cars submerged in high waters at that intersection early on this morning, about 5 o'clock. Now, we're told that everyone got out of their cars. They were able to get to safety with no injuries. Another spot along Murfreesboro Pike, though, looks like it does still remain closed. That would be at Foster Avenue. And these are areas that are just well known to flood out during severe weather events. Also, we have 3 deaths that were reported and related to the storm system that came through this morning. and they happened in Fayette, McNairy, and Obion counties. And we do understand that most school systems in the Nashville listening area have either canceled or delayed classes for today. A bill that would require Tennessee public schools to teach certain keys to a successful life continues to move through the legislature. Now, this bill is aiming to teach a success sequence to students, which includes finishing high school, then getting a job or moving to higher education, getting married, and then having children. A House subcommittee has passed that measure. It is slated for discussion today. It has already passed in the Senate. Well, it was a Rose Garden event yesterday when the president announced a baseline 10% tariff on imports from all countries into the United States. That'll start on April 5th. And then on April 9th, there are extra reciprocal tariffs that'll hit imports from about 60 countries. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
China, it would be a 34% tariff. Remember, they're already facing about a 20% tariff on products coming into the United States because of 2 rounds that the president has put into effect since he took office in January. The European Union, 20%. Japan, 24%. India, 26%. And South Korea, 25%.
Now, those tariffs, President Trump says, are about half of what the White House says that those countries charge on American goods. Also, just this morning, we're hearing from Commerce Secretary Lutnick, who says Trump's reciprocal tariffs will spur countries to examine their trade policies. Well, that is the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
7:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for Zero Res.
Oh, how about that?
Are we?
National weather, a flash flood warning is in effect until 9:15.
Okay. I'm trying to get my phone to stop.
Yeah. No, it's mine.
Oh, it's both of ours.
Yeah.
Are we on the air, KGB? We are on the air. Okay. So let's talk real quick about what that is. There's National Weather Service, a flash flood warning is in effect for this area until 9:15 a.m. What area? It doesn't say on my alert. I'm assuming all of Nashville.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything
here
either. Flash flood warning in effect till 9:15. Dangerous, life-threatening situation. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject to flooding or under an evacuation order.
Well, I will tell you, it's raining really hard right now in Nashville.
Yeah.
Like, we can hear it. Sometimes I can hear the rain. Sometimes I can't. If it's raining really hard, then I can hear it. So it is a mess right now in Nashville.
I'll see if I can find out more about that.
All right, KGB, am I doing my commercial? All right, because we're on the radio, right? Right. All right. And then coming up, we're going to talk about Liberation Day.
Yeah.
And I loved what Trump had to say yesterday when he was announcing this. So all that and more straight ahead. Dan Mandis here from my carpet cleaning company, Zero Res. I've been a client of Zero Res for years. One big reason, of course, is, and here in springtime, they really do help me with my allergies. Your carpet is the #1 air filter inside your home. It filters out airborne particles, pollen, bacteria, you name it. Zero Res is going to filter out the bad stuff so you can keep your filter clean. Now, Zero Res does this better than anyone. They don't use any harsh chemicals. They don't use any harsh soaps. Just powered water that leaves behind soft and fluffy carpets. Right now, a great deal. 2 rooms of carpets clean for just $109. 2 rooms of carpets clean for $109. Plus, you are going to get a free hallway. Plus, 25% off of area rugs. Call them right now at Zero Res at 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. ZeroResNashville.com. 7:36 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. And listen, spring wedding season is approaching. If you're a bride, a bridesmaid, a groom, maybe a groomsman, and you're not exactly confident about looking your best, Contour's Med Spa in Cool Springs can help. Now, their red light technology is going to help you lose 2 inches across the belly on that first treatment guaranteed. And if you're not happy, you don't pay. Right now, the first 10 callers, you get your first treatment for just $99 right now when you call this number, 615-236-9960. Again, this is that red light technology that is going to help you lose a couple of inches across the belly. That $600 value right now is only $99. 615-236-9960. First 10 callers. This is FDA approved. It is incredibly unique and one of the only places in Tennessee that offers red light technology. 615-236-9960, ContoursLLC.com.
Okay, so in Davidson County, this is in Nashville, Old Hickory Boulevard westbound between Amelie Drive and Edmondson Pike. It is closed in that area. There's a pretty serious crash. We're watching it this morning. Now, nothing to speak of on the from the traffic center. Looks like on 65 northbound heading up to the area of 440. It is still a mess this morning. Very slow. In fact, it looks like it might be closed off. Now, the traffic center doesn't state that specifically, but it looks like it is closed off in that area this morning. We do have a crash on Antioch Pike at Harding Place, 24 westbound, flooding the westbound off-ramp to I-40, exit 52A and B. The off-ramp there, the through lanes are blocked off because of flooding, but folks are going around it on the Gore. You've got things closed down as well on 40, the eastbound lanes, Kingston Springs, Ashland City Highway 249. Up to Bellevue. That is that scene this morning of a tractor trailer that went into a wall, and they're still working to clean that up this morning. One more crash for you. It's 24 eastbound at Briley Parkway South. The right lane is blocked off by it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:39, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Looking at the radar, it's really raining heavily, of course, here in downtown. And that line of storms is just continuing to rumble through Middle Tennessee. By the way, Joan, you and I, our weather alerts went off for the flash flooding.
Yeah.
Neither one of us could figure out what in the world was going on.
Yeah? Do you have some information?
2253. Well, you didn't know this, and I didn't know this either. 2253 says, and he calls me a name. I don't even know what it means. Hey, DeWitts. It says, it pings your phone to the location that you're at.
Oh.
That's why it didn't give you your location, because it knows where you're at.
I'm uncomfortable with that.
And then he says, and you call yourself smart.
Yeah.
2253, never once in my entire life have I called myself smart, just so we're clear. Hey, Joan, real quick, let's talk about where the futures are right now. And I think, what time's it? Market open?
Market opens at 8:30.
8:30, okay. So let's talk about the futures real quick, and then I'm gonna get into how yesterday was such a big day in America.
Yeah, so it was a big day in America after the stock market closed. So everybody went on a buying spree just before it closed because they knew President Trump was going to make this announcement. So today, looks like we're going to open up far down. Stocks are not looking good. The Dow futures are minus 1,177 points right now. NASDAQ futures are down 780 points. That's nearly 4%, just shy of 4%. and the S&P futures are minus 190, over about 3.33% there. So it's there's fears that this will spark a trade war.
Yep.
But President Trump is counting on other countries going, hey, you know what? Time to readjust.
Yeah, I mean, he came out and you could tell that he was excited.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
So, of course, President Trump he went on forever, by the way, yesterday. That was a long-winded speech. So it was a big day, and a day that Donald Trump has been waiting for. And there was a lot of ceremony, and there was a lot of speaking, and the president was very excited again.
April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy.
So here's what I will tell you, folks, and I have been consistent on this since day one. This is a multifaceted approach for the president, because what he's trying to do, he's really trying to change our economy. I mean, you don't turn a big old ship around, like that. I mean, this is going to take time. So you have the tariffs that he is implementing. By the way, E.J. Antoni from the Heritage Foundation and Fox News, he's going to walk us through this at 8:06 here on Nashville's Morning News. But I want you to think about everything that the president is trying to do. Number one, he's trying to make America rich again on tariffs. Because ultimately what I think that he would love to do is replace income taxes with tariffs. I mean, he said that. His administration has said that. So there's a lot of things that he's trying to sort of put into the pot, if you will, to get a lot of ingredients that he's putting into this to try to change our economy. You have the tariffs. You have the money that these tariffs are going to bring into our country. You have the jobs that those tariffs will lead to here in America. That will bring more money to more people here in America. That will, by the way, increase the tax base as well. And once you have new jobs that come into our country, well, then there's like a trickle-down effect, right? So a manufacturing plant opens up in, Springfield, Ohio. 1,000 jobs come to Springfield. Well, you've got the people that work there in the plant itself, but then you've got the restaurants and the stores around the area. You've got people renting apartments and so forth in Springfield. So I totally understand. I am laser focused on what Donald Trump is trying to do. You, of course, have the Trump tax cuts. You have the Doge spending cuts as well. And also remember that you do have a lot of those nations, a lot of those companies, and I'm going to get into some of these in a minute, where you have all of these companies that are moving to America to avoid Donald Trump's tariffs. And so when you look at your 401k, when you hear the very dire futures here as we get ready for the open in about 45 minutes from now, just realize that there's a lot going on that has been baked into this cake. E.J. Antoni is going to help us figure it all out. But I understand what the president is trying to do.
For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that.
Yeah, that was an interesting tact by the president. I'm going to pick that up coming up. It is 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Thank
Thank you, Christy. Basically rain the next 4 days. It is pouring outside.
It's a waterfall.
Like, I can hear it.
It's a waterfall right now.
Can you hear it? Can you see it or hear it, Joan?
I can see and hear it.
I can't see it at all.
Oh,
Remember,
that's right.
I'm back here in the dust-encrusted news
There's
corner.
no noise in and out of that place.
Right.
She's not allowed to.
It is really coming down hard. So be careful. Again, we've got flooding around Middle Tennessee. We'll continue to keep you updated on the flooding. I told you a few minutes ago that we do have a lot of roads that are closed. All the schools are closed. That is a good thing. We do still have rain all through Middle Tennessee. It is 746 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. So 2 big stories today. Obviously, number one, the weather, and also Trump's tariffs and how the market is responding. This morning, he did all of this. Liberation Day was yesterday, where he did announce all of these tariffs. But I thought it was interesting because basically what he's saying is that if, and I'm just going to use simple numbers here. So if a country charges us 50% tariffs, then we're going to charge half that, 25%. And I thought that was an interesting tact because what the president is doing, and I'm going to ask E.J. Antoni this question coming up at 8:06, but I think the president is trying to leave room for negotiation, perhaps. Because, and you heard at the end of that last soundbite, let me play it again, because obviously Trump is expecting some big-time pushback.
Them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that.
Yeah, he could have done that, but bottom line is he didn't. So he starts going down the list, right? He actually, I don't know if you saw this, Joan, he had the big chart. And
yes, I love how he said, did you know why he was holding that chart?
No.
Because they had a huge one, a bigger one that the cameras could have captured well, but it was so windy outside, they thought it would just come down on everyone.
That's right. He did say that. Very funny. And so he was holding the chart, and then everybody got a handout. But China, they charge us with a 67% tariff, so we're charging 34%. And so these tariffs, I love how we calculated these. These tariffs were calculated with Trump and his team figuring out, of course, what those countries charged us, plus other things that they've been doing to hurt us and our economy financially. For example,
China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So it's 67%. So we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset?
That's what he said. How can anybody be upset, right? The European Union, they charge us 39%. We'll charge them 20%. Vietnam charges us a 90% tariff. Vietnam, 90%
Isn't that
tariff.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so we will now charge them 46%. And he's got like a baseline. All countries around the world would pay the U.S. at least 10% on imports. The floor, this is the Associated Press, the floor of the reciprocal tariffs was set at 10%. So the United Kingdom, which only charges the U.S. a 10% tariff, would only pay 10% in return. And yesterday, we left the airwaves, and there was a lot of conversation about how Israel and some of these other countries were trying to make a last-ditch effort to negotiate. Israel made a last-ditch effort to get out of the U.S. tariffs, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announcing that his country would drop all remaining import taxes on U.S. items. The White House chart said Israel still pays a 17% tariff. And here's the deal. Donald Trump said that if you build your products here, you pay nothing.
What we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America.
That's right. I mean, look, the president is absolutely right. Now, we already know there's a big list of it. I've given this to you many times. We already know the massive amount of companies that have moved their manufacturing here. I have a feeling, by the way, it's going to be a lot more. But we had Apple, the $500 billion investment plan over 4 years, including a major factory in Texas for AI servers, influenced by tariff pressures. Samsung and LG, these electronics giants, are considering moving their plants from Mexico to the U.S. I mean, the list goes on and on. Honda has decided to produce its next generation Civic Hybrid in Indiana instead of Mexico to avoid potential tariffs on one of its top selling models. I mean, it goes on and on. So, in other words, I know that it looks a little bleak this morning where the futures is down over 1,000 points. A little jarring when we started segueing into the regular news and Joan said the futures were down 1,000 and then 1,200 points. We'll see what happens when the markets open, but Trump has a plan. He's got a vision. And this is why people and some folks on the super text line saying, Donald Trump just cost us the midterm elections. We don't know that. We don't know what's going to happen. So I would say have some faith. 7:52 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Well, we have some power outages still this morning, and this may be affecting, by the way, some intersections because the lights are out at intersections. 3 deaths associated with the storm system that pushed through overnight, and we'll also tell you why the State Department is getting involved in the case of an abortion protester in the UK. Those stories coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:53 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Make 2025 the year that you get active again. If you've been sidelined with chronic back, neck, and knee pain, check out my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville and Dr. Kevin Mitchell. Now, I've been a client for over 10 years. I have never felt better. I arrived in Middle Tennessee over a decade ago, and I went through spinal decompression therapy for my chronic back pain. It has really helped, and every once in a while, I need an adjustment, and I get it from Dr. Mitch. Now, right now, they've got a great deal going on. The Wellness Institute of Nashville, they're offering the Big 47 offer in honor of our 47th president, 47% off spinal decompression therapy. That is a huge deal. 47% off spinal decompression therapy, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com. 7:56, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into a very wet and rainy Thursday. And just to get you up to speed on where we are weather-wise, we don't have any tornado warnings, or I don't think we're under any watches either, are we?
We're on flash flood warnings around the other multiple counties until 10:45. But those flash floods could lead to, like, as people are making the relations to 2010, I mean, those could still happen.
But we don't have any tornado watches currently in effect.
On WSMV4 now, I saw one, but it was saying it was ending at 8 a.m., so we are at the ending here. So that's the last tornado warning I have seen, at least.
Yep. I mean, look, we can't say it enough. And I've been on the air since midnight, folks, with all this stuff. So trust me when I say I get, yes, it is raining. It is raining really hard. Right now, if you want to look at where the storms are, Franklin is getting hit right now. Lebanon is getting hit right now. B&A as well. There is a storm track that is moving, is coming from the west and moving to the northeast and rolling through Middle Tennessee right now. The biggest parts of this cell, at least as far as I can tell, Bellevue is getting hit right now. Franklin, you're about to get hammered, as a matter of fact. Right about, looks like about 8:10 is when Franklin's going to get hit. Maybe, about 8:15, Franklin, you're going to get hit again. So there's a lot of flooding. There is flash flooding. There is flooding warnings. And basically, everywhere you go today, you've got to be careful because of all of that flooding. It has been a brutal night. It has been a long night full of lightning and thunder. We've had a lot of rain, obviously, a lot of wind, a lot of car accidents. 65, somebody is saying that 65 at 440, that is now open. Is that true or not?
I am seeing nothing on the traffic report saying it was closed because it says it's closed. It doesn't say anything about 65 on my screen, so that's a good sign.
Okay.
If it's not saying anything, it means it's usually open. Let me look
at the actual movement.
I got to tell you, it is a black line.
It is still
if
black?
You're 65 up to 440. Is that the area you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it's a black line. So that suggests that it is closed. I can take a look at the camera here and see how we look.
Well, let's see. We got a 100,000 watt radio station, 615-737-9986.
Still backed up completely.
Yeah,
so
I feel so bad for those people on 65.
I have noticed that, like, when there is a closure, it's kind of green after the closure, which means like there's no traffic. But since it's closed, there's no one over there. Right now, I'm seeing some yellow where it used to be green, so it could be starting to open up a little bit.
All right,
but it's yeah.
Nope. It is a mess.
Yeah, you know what? Regardless as to whether or not it's open or not, there is still miles and miles of traffic on 65. So I hate this phrase, Joan. Pack your patience.
Oh, I hate that too.
I know.
Thank you for not saying it.
I think I just did, but I was mocking it. I was mocking people who say it. So that means that I didn't actually say it. I was actually mocking people who do say it. Thank you. All right, it's 8 o'clock. Nashville's Morning News. By the way, EJ and Tony is coming up next, going to work through some of the Trump tariffs with us here. Coming up next at 8:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There are a lot of power outages after the storms right now. Nashville Electric reporting 3,100, Dixon Electric 2,000, Middle Tennessee Electric 392, Tri-County Electric in the 300 range. Now, TEMA says 15,400 across the state. So that's across the state. However, on the local level, those power outages may include the traffic lights at the intersection that you're used to going to. Be careful as you're heading out the door. There are at least 3 deaths in the volunteer state after these storms. Tennessee Emergency Management reporting there was one in McNairy County, one in Obion County, and a third one in Fayette County. That one, a direct result of a tornado that struck a home in the town of Moscow. Fox 17 is reporting that there was one person struck by lightning overnight as well. Metro Police Dispatch confirming the victim was struck at the Hilton on Cleghorn Avenue in Nashville's Green Hills neighborhood. That person was standing outside when they were struck. Now, we don't know the status of that person's injuries at the moment. The Trump administration is restoring millions of dollars in Title X funds to Tennessee and to Oklahoma. Those funds are specifically for family planning. It's the country's only federal program solely dedicated to providing birth control and reproductive health care to low-income Americans. In 2023, President Joe Biden cut off the funds to Tennessee and Oklahoma because they did not comply with a rule requiring those states to provide abortion referrals. The State Department announcing that it is closely monitoring the case of a woman arrested for holding a sign outside of an abortion clinic in the UK in 2023. Her name is Livia Tasishi Bolt, and her sign read, "Here to talk if you want." A State Department representative met with her recently. The Daily Wire says that this was an oblique warning that the U.S. is concerned about freedom of expression in the UK, and it could affect negotiations in the U.S. here over trade deals with the UK. Overnight, the president of the EU Commission, her name is Ursula von der Leyen, hit back at the newly announced tariffs from President Trump. And in a video she posted overnight on X, von der Leyen said that Europe is prepared for the impact of the new tariffs, and they've already begun discussions on how to mitigate the expected hit in the automotive, steel, and pharmacy industries.
We will stand together and stand up for each other. Our unity is our strength.
There is no strength right now in the stock market. We have Dow futures. We are, about a half hour ahead of the opening bell. Could be really ugly. The Dow futures are down 1,231. That's just about 3%. NASDAQ futures minus 849. These losses are growing here. That's down 4.3%. S&P futures are down 205, about 3.5%. Those market numbers, by the way, brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. That is the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, it is closed this morning in Nashville, Old Hickory Boulevard, the westbound lanes between Amelie Drive and Edmondson Pike. There's a crash in that area this morning. Now, 65, as you're heading northbound under I-440, exit 80, It's flooded out this morning. We've got 2 right lanes blocked, but it looks like the lanes are open. Just everybody is moving over to the left side to get around it. And it is delayed far, far behind that closure this morning. It's not a closure anymore. 65 northbound under I-440, flooded out. 2 right lanes there are blocked. At the eastern split, 24 westbound, the off-ramp to I-40, that's flooded as well. And drivers they can't get through the off-ramp lanes, so they're driving up on the Gore to get around it. That's causing some delays as well. A crash in Antioch Pike at Harding Place, Creve Hall, a crash, Trousdale Drive at Hogan Road as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And welcome on in to Nashville's Morning News.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
That is, of course, President Donald Trump announcing his tariffs yesterday after the market closed. DJ Antoni is with us. He, of course, writes for the Heritage Foundation, makes appearances on Fox News. EJ, the market right now, the futures is down like 1,200 points. It's looking really ugly. And earlier I was explaining to folks, and you're one of the ones that, sort of helped me sort this out a while ago. There's a lot of ingredients that Donald Trump is using to try to fix our economy. I mean, look, we're trillions of dollars in debt and so forth. And so he needed to do something. So talk a little bit about how the tariffs is just one part of what Donald Trump is trying to do to improve our economy in the long run.
Well, thanks for having me. I would say that the tariffs are the stick in the carrot and stick approach here. So it's essentially a way of telling people, look, if you're going to make things overseas and bring them here to the United States, if you're not going to employ Americans, if you're not going to build here, then you pay a penalty for that. So there's a disincentive. But there's also an incentive to build stuff here, and that's tax reform, that's regulatory reform. Now, the regulatory reform is already underway. It's going to take a while for it to get done, but it is at least underway. I think the big problem here, and maybe this is the reason why markets are swooning, is that the congressional Republicans just aren't making any progress, it seems, on providing tax relief. And if they actually get that across the finish line, it blows the tariffs out of the water. What I mean is, in terms of tax relief, you're talking about somewhere about $4.5 trillion, that ballpark. All right. Conversely, in a worst case scenario, these tariffs are likely to produce about $450 billion in higher costs here at home. So it's literally 10 to 1. In other words, the cost savings for American people in terms of tax reform is 10 times the cost increases they might get from tariffs.
And you're talking about extending the Trump tax cuts and the deregulation. That was a big part of Donald Trump's first administration, was all of that deregulation as well. And I know that, we've all had conversations on WTN about how Congress, even though we have a Republican majority, it is a really slim public majority. You watch public policy just like I do. What do you think the holdup is in the House of Representatives? Is it just the very slim majority, and you've got some squishy Republicans that are in, sort of Joe Biden-esque kind of districts?
That's part of the problem. Actually, it honestly seems like it's not even so much some of the squishy Republicans, as we might call them, the rhinos, but some of the people who have been real hardliners who are frankly now getting cartoonish on completely unrelated issues. Like all this nonsense about trying to force a vote so that women don't have to be present to vote on the floor so that they can instead be home raising children. I understand
those people's thinking and everything. But why are you throwing down about that right now at a time when we are desperately trying to get all of this tax relief to American families? I can't think of something any more stupid than that, quite frankly. So those are the kinds of antics with which the Speaker's office is having to deal right now. And look, I'm no big fan of the Speaker, to be clear, but I will give him credit. He is trying to herd cats right now, very, very unruly cats, to say the least.
Well, yeah, and we did speak about that yesterday. I don't know, not to delve too much into policy, but I don't know how smart it was to tie a lot of the things that Trump is trying to do with this, allowing representatives to proxy vote and work from home, because it seems like it was a miscalculation. Actually, we had one of the Congress people on that was involved in all of that, and I think everybody agrees that Mike Johnson, spectacular miscalculation, sent everybody home. We'll save that for another day. So I guess my question now, EJ, is this. When people see the market, the futures and where it is, now when it's going to open, I mean, none of us are in the predicting business, but what do you think is going to happen when it opens? And why should people not panic?
Well, we're going to take steep losses. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Now, two reasons why not to panic. One, markets typically overreact. They have a herd mentality. So when you get bad news, they tend to drop worse than the news would justify. And also when you get good news, they tend to rally more than the news justifies. So that's one thing. The other point to consider, though, is the fact that when I talk to traders, including the one that I work with personally, and actually I even do a podcast with him, he has a momentum trend model that he uses to analyze the markets. And what he found back in December was that markets were severely overvalued. In other words, equity prices were way too high and were going to have to come down pretty substantially. So he's been looking for a 10 to 20% downward move since December. That's just what the numbers showed. And it was essentially just, as he said, a matter of the headlines are interchangeable. At some point, we're going to get some bad news, and people will use that as an excuse to sell. So I'm sure that's also at work behind the scenes here, too.
EJ Antoni is joining us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The president has seen, it seems to me, obviously some success with these tariffs already. I mean, earlier before you joined us, there's example after example after example of countries and companies moving here. I mean, Apple, $500 billion investment plan over 4 years. And a lot of them are doing it to avoid those tariffs. So I'm going to ask you coming up after the traffic, EJ, is that proof that Donald Trump is on the right track, that he is already seeing progress with companies moving here to avoid the tariffs and opening up, jobs and manufacturing plants and so forth? Going to ask you that after we check the roadways on WTN. $8:15, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Rain all day and for the next several days as well. EJ Antoni is joining us on WTN. So is it, EJ, is it safe to say that the president is on the right track because as he has sort of dipped his toe into these tariffs, we're seeing some success. Companies and countries are moving here, bringing jobs here, billions of dollars in investments to avoid those tariffs?
Yeah, I think he is largely on the right track. There's a few things we have to note there, but you're right. He is largely, absolutely on the right track. He has secured, I mean, this is an eye-watering number, but he has managed to secure about $5 trillion in investment. That is absolutely staggering. He's been in office just a few months, and he's managed to pull that off. So that's incredible. Kudos to the president. I love that. In terms of some things we got to tweak, though, look, these were supposed to be reciprocal tariffs. These were supposed to be based on what other countries were doing to us. And it turns out as we start digging through the numbers, that's not actually what's going on here, unfortunately. And you can tell that by, nations like Israel, for example. And look, this is nothing to do with all the politics surrounding Israel, but simply the fact that they said, look, we're dropping all our trade barriers. And then we turn around and slap them with a 17% tariff. I don't understand that. Also, you have certain nations that do not cheat in international trade, and yet we're slapping tariffs on them that are larger than the tariffs we just put on China, who is the biggest cheater of all when it comes to international trade. So it seems like the rates that the White House imposed yesterday don't really match up with how these different nations are acting in terms of their tariff and non-tariff barriers. Remember, the president told us that he was going to do to other countries whatever they do to us. And for some reason, that doesn't seem to be what's really going on with these numbers. So I would really encourage the White House here to reevaluate the different tariff rates that they have placed. We should have much steeper tariff rates on China and Iran, for example, and lower rates on those countries like the Falkland Islands, who they don't cheat at all when it comes to international trade. They have a very level playing field, and yet we have one of our highest rates on them.
And the Falkland Islands?
Yes, exactly. This is what I mean. You start going through these numbers, and a lot of people are left scratching their heads. It turns out that what the White House did was they simply imposed tariffs based on the size of the goods deficit that we have with these countries, not based on whether these countries are abusing international trade by throwing up all kinds of trade barriers, whether those are tariffs or quotas or currency manipulation, et cetera. So if we actually did that, we should have the highest rates on countries like China, again, who are abusers of the international trade system. We should not be putting these punitively high rates on our friends and allies.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that some folks have been talking about is the fact that this could hurt our alliances with some of our allies across the world. Last question here. First, a statement. The Senate has actually voted now to rescind some of these Trump tariffs. The usual suspects within the GOP, Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell, and Susan Collins, voted with the Democrats. Do you see, you watch this stuff far closer than I do. Do you think Donald Trump and the people that work within his administration will heed the advice of someone such as yourself and maybe relook at some of these tariffs?
I certainly hope they do, because it is specifically these kinds of missteps by different advisors within the administration that give credence to the complaints of those senators, right? It is these kinds of unforced errors, frankly, that are going to lead to Congress stepping in and taking away this authority from the president. And look, that's not what I want to happen. I am not some kind of free trade dogmatist where I say no tariffs never, and at any time they never have a place. That's not me. I am perfectly okay with things like reciprocal tariffs. But that's what I want, reciprocal tariffs. I don't want this kind of shotgun approach, this haphazard nonsense that's going to penalize friends and allies while effectively subsidizing China.
All right, DJ, one last question for you, and I appreciate your indulgence on these questions. But for the regular person driving along I-65 or 24, what is going to be the impact to that person? I mean, a lot of folks perhaps listening don't even know what a tariff is, have no idea what we're talking about. What will the impact be on the average Tennessean?
Well, these tariffs are essentially a tax that we're putting in place on international trade. And a lot of people have said these are just all going to have to get paid by the consumer. So if we tariff Chinese goods, then when those Chinese goods are sold in the United States, they're going to get sold for a higher price. So the American consumer really pays this tax. Yeah, that's really not entirely true. A lot of the tax ends up getting paid by the Chinese producer, who ends up having to simply eat the cost of the tariff. If they try to pass on the full cost to the consumer, then all of a sudden the Chinese products aren't cheaper anymore, and so people would stop buying them. So it's not like all of this is going to be paid by the American consumer. Some will, sure, but not all of it. The hope is that although you may see slightly higher prices in the short run, in the long run, more factories will move here to the United States, more Americans will be employed, more stuff is going to be made here, and that's very good for our industrial base, it's good for our economy, and in the long run, it leads to lower prices.
All right, DJ, tell us about your podcast real quick. You mentioned a podcast. Can I listen to it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the name of the podcast is Policy and Profits. And it's myself and Anthony Esposito, and we cover both sides of that financial equation. We cover the policy side, how that's affecting your money, and we obviously delve into the profits, how you can make more money.
And it's available wherever podcasts are downloaded?
You got it. Apple, Spotify, whole nine yards.
All right, EJ, always great to have you on. Have a great rest of day, and we appreciate you coming on. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 821. Joan Jones is in the WTN newsroom. Joan.
Yeah, got a close call for a Fairview couple during last night's storms. Also, the opening bell, it's about to ring on Wall Street. We're going to uncover our eyes and take a peek. Ooh, that's coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eight 822 on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Every night at homework time, I thank the Lord for Xfinity Internet. Now we can stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed we need, and you can too. You know that I do all these shows over the holidays a while ago, and I do a lot of shows from home. That's all because I have rock-solid internet from my friends at Xfinity. Riker, of course, does his homework and his gaming. Amy works from home as well. And by the way, if there are issues, Xfinity has 24/7 customer service here for you whenever you need it within home Wi-Fi support. So get the best Wi-Fi for your life, whether it's doing homework with the kids or work for the paycheck. Rock solid internet is only a phone call away with Xfinity. To get started, mention my name, 1-800-XFINITY, online xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today for more details. Eight 825, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here. Listen, avoid the stress of preparing to sell your home with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. You skip the hassle of spring cleaning and sell your home fast for maximum value with Mark Spain Real Estate. You don't have to worry about showings, open houses, or costly repairs. Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer allows you to bypass the market, receive an all-cash offer, and close within days. With over 12,500 five-star reviews, you can trust markspain.com with their guaranteed cash offer. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be. There's no obligation. 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, markspain.com, and start packing. 827 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan.
Yes.
How are the futures 2.5 minutes before the opening bell?
Oh, you really want to know?
Sure.
All right, cover your ears.
Okay.
Dow futures are down 1,260, so that's roughly 3%.
All righty.
Yeah.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says, don't worry about it.
We've been unfairly treated for so long. The president made a good point in the Rose Garden. He said no previous president really has had the guts to stand up and do what must be done to fix this disparity. So we would expect the stock market to react in the way it is, but I think it will settle out. What I think is going to happen here is that the reciprocal trade policy, he calls it the fair reciprocal trade policy, right? We're not even going to do to other countries what they're doing to us, but we're going to try to make that more even. I think what it will do is open up the negotiating table. I think these other countries, leaders from these other countries, allies, and others who trade with us are going to come to the table and say, okay, we'll reduce our import tariffs on America's and Americans' goods, and then we'll make this more fair. You can't have free trade unless you have fair trade. Ronald Reagan used to make that point, and Donald Trump is making it, and now he's acting upon it, and I think that the time has come for this action.
All right, so I want to do a really quick Daily Dan poll, because we've been focused on weather like literally all night. But I want to try to do a quick Daily Dan poll. Watch us on YouTube and take the poll. By the way, like and subscribe. Are you worried about the economy because of Donald Trump's tariffs? That's what I want to know. Are you worried about the economy because of Donald Trump's tariffs? So pretty that up, if you would, KGB, and put it up. And we'll see how we'll see what the super texters and also the YouTube watchers feel about all that. Joan Jones, it is 8:29 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 65 North apparently is closed again. That's from what I'm hearing on the super text line. Somebody also called up 615-737-9986 and said, yes, they have closed 65 yet again. Is that true, KGB? Yep, you give me a thumbs up. So still got a lot of problems out on the roadways. Chris Hand is going to join us for the crisscross handoff. Straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News on WTN.
Good morning, 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Yeah, we do have that 65 northbound area under I-440 closed off. It's because of flooding, as it had been earlier. Drivers are being forced off onto I-440 to get around it. It was a close call for a couple in Fairview, Williamson County early this morning after a large tree fell onto their brand new car, and then it hit their home on Pinecrest Court. They spoke to Channel 4.
So we were in our safe place in the middle of the house there, and everything kind of calmed down. I just laid back down. She was getting ready.
We lay back down, and I was undressing to get back in bed, and our bedroom is right there, 2 feet further east, and it would have taken out. It would have got him because he was in the bed.
Now, that couple says that despite the damages to their new car and to their home, they are thankful because they were not hurt. In McNairy County, a home was destroyed during the storms last night, causing a police response. Yeah, that's how it sounded as police were searching for anybody inside the home. Tennessee Highway Patrol telling Channel 4 they did not find anyone. McNairy County was just one of 3 that reported a death during the line of severe weather last night. The others were in Obion and Fayette counties. If you're using the Zelle app to buy things, you're fresh out of luck starting today. Zelle's app has been shut down, but only the app.
Zelle itself is not going away, just the standalone app. You can still use Zelle directly through your bank's app if your bank belongs to their network of more than 2,200 banks and credit unions. Zelle says only 2% of transactions were happening on the app, and that is why they decided to make this change.
That's ABC's Rhiannon Alley. Money News now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Okay, the opening bell has rung and the Dow Jones Industrials have begun down 1,204 points. The NASDAQ falling 771 at the start here. And the S&P 500 index, that fell 186 points. We'll keep an eye on it here. That's the tariff effect on Wall Street. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:32. Doggone it. Did I do that? That was you? All right. KGB shanked it.
It's one of those days.
KGB.
Listen, I've been here since midnight. Tell me your excuse.
In my, yeah, I don't have an excuse.
You have no defense.
Yeah, I almost died on the way here. Is that a good excuse?
We'll hear about that coming up on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Matt is here for United Structural Systems. You know what they do at USS? Chris, they do waterproofing at USS. I bet you there's a lot of people that need waterproofing right about now. This is a great company. They've helped me several times with my home, and that is why I proudly endorse USS, United Structural Systems. Now, they're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs, and you won't pay a dime until the work is done, and you are a satisfied customer. By the way, they can help you not only, of course, with your basement and crawl space waterproofing, but also basement wall stabilization and foundation repair. We guarantee our best. Call USS at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com. .834, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. In case you hadn't noticed, the spring season is upon us. Now is the time to start thinking about your outdoor lawn equipment. DT McCall's is helping you out with their Spring Cub Cadet mower sale. Now it's happening beginning this weekend, April 4th through April 12th, again at their Lafayette location for DT McCall's. It is their Spring Cub Cadet mower sale. Then in Cookeville, April 18th through the 26th. You know what happens when we get all this rain? That grass is going to grow, and you need a brand new Spring Cub Cadet mower. They're having a great sale right now at DT McCall's. They've got all kinds of different sizes as well. And when you purchase a Cub Cadet mower from DT McCall's, you'll be getting access to their in-house service department. It is nearly impossible to find mower service anywhere else. That's why you got to go to DT McCall's. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. And again, don't forget, beginning this weekend, April 4th through the 12th in Cookeville, it's their Cub Cadet mower sale. And then in Cookeville, April 18th through the 26th. You can always find them online. It is dtmccalls.com.
Okay, so once again, drivers, if you're taking up I-65 northbound, once you get to that area of I-440, it's closed off because of flooding. And what they're doing is stopping traffic from Harding Place, exit 78. And drivers are being forced off the roadway, looks like right there at I-440, while they wait for that flooding to dissipate a little bit. Now, we also have a crash on 24 in Glencliff. This is at Briley Parkway, south exit 54. The left shoulder is blocked off there. They're saying that a car spun out and hit the wall there. Another crash this morning on the 24 westbound side at the Eastern Split. This is the westbound off-ramp to I-40. Flooding there, and the off-ramp left lane is blocked. 40 eastbound, a crash in Pegram, just past McCrory Lane, exit 192. It's stop and go from the Cheatham-Davidson County line up and to that point. 40 the eastbound, make that 40 the westbound side. This is in Napier. Got a crash, off-ramp left shoulder is blocked off as you approach the I-40 South Loop. Want to let you know that there's another one in Brentwood and Old Hickory Boulevard at I-65, and a crash as well at Paragon Mills, Nolensville Pike at Wallace Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's going to be a big story. 8:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pamela Furr says it is really raining where she is, and
we'll fact check that.
Nice.
Pamela Furr.
That does not add up.
Pamela Furr.
I don't know. That sounds like fake news, Pam.
What is she, CNN?
You know, Pamela and I, we were on the air for years together. I think at one time, just to bug her, I called her fake news Fur.
Oh, that's
Did you
rotten.
trademark it?
No, I didn't, but I got it back in spades. So that was a long, 6-7 years? Anyway, whatever. So, yeah, it is. How was your drive-in?
The drive-in wasn't bad until we got closer to Nashville, and then you started seeing that the patches of flooding popping up. But it wasn't the worst for me. I've had worse mornings on 24, believe it or not.
Well, you're here on time, so, you know.
Well,
we're
65
ecstatic.
north is now the new 24 north at the moment, or east. Or
You know what?
whatever it is.
They're saying, though, that there's a crash on 24 at Briley Parkway, and that's causing a huge mess. Did you see that, Chris, on your way?
I did not.
Okay. So
that has
may
been
be
there
new.
for a while. That's been there for like multiple hours.
Yeah.
Are we sure the computers are still working here?
It could be that they're not.
That's a very good point.
They could be like, you know how they freeze up?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh.
The storm is stalled out over.
But obviously, with the storm, any accident is going to take a while to clear up.
Yeah.
Well, because you got number one, a lot of water. You got a lot of people that need to be rescued.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a lot of water rescues going on right now.
Well, also these when they come in to clear up these accidents, there's going to be so many that they're going to be thin with personnel to help these people out regardless.
Yep.
I wish that we would treat days like this in a similar way to how we treat snowstorms.
How's that?
Not coming to work?
Yeah, it should be a shut it down kind of day. Stay home.
Yeah?
Yeah, keep the
Work in our
businesses
jammies.
closed. Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, that sounds fun for you guys.
You know what? You know, Chris, just what I'm going to do just to honor that statement, I'm going to go out to the parking lot and do a rain angel.
You should do it.
Right, Dan, I'll just, that's.
We'll roll video. Hey, Dan.
Yes?
I understand that there's an ode to you.
Oh, did you hear that?
I did hear it.
It was so good.
So
You missed it
wasted
yesterday?
bacon.
An ode to me?
Yeah.
Yes. There's
Oh, you didn't hear this?
There's
No,
a
this
jazz
is-
song. Murphy has a jazz song
Murphy and Cameron Smith.
that's all about you.
Yeah.
And,
You-
and
are
your
you-
love of Slippery Elm.
You want to hear it?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, hold on. I gotta
I
get
have-
it.
It's this.
Okay, I have it
wanna-
ready.
I just want to say this song is a banger.
Yeah. It's
And
a banger.
There are so many hotkeys available in this song once we
Oh,
clip it the
gosh.
right way.
Okay, so Dan, I have not heard this, so I'm gonna be with you on learning this.
So
for the
you're
first
telling
time.
me that Matt and Cameron Smith came up with an ode to Dan Mandis?
I listened to it live last night and was in tears.
Me
okay,
too.
well, let's hear it.
It made me comment in the YouTube chat.
Mason,
That's how good it was.
When I came in, Mason's like, "Dude, you're gonna save this." Okay, so let's do this.
Dan cracks the mic just before the sun. Voice like gravel, oh, it barely comes. He clears his throat, the static's thick. Slippery Elm's his magic trick.
It's so
Talk
good.
show whispers right in the air. Listeners lean in like they're halfway there. Sips his tea, his secret brew. Dan speaks silk to the morning crew. Oh, throat coat, work your art. Sounds so smooth at the day's start. Radio waves come alive on air. Dan's sore throat is barely there. Callers sneak in with their tales of woe. Dan's coded voice steals the show. Elm tasty, minutes work divine. Dan's soft croon keeps drivers in line. Slippery elm, you sly old beast, turning grit into a
We're finishing this.
feast. Over the airwaves, his voice in hand, a tea-soaked legend is Radio Dan. Oh, throw coat, work your art, sound so smooth at the day's start. Radio waves come alive on air. Dan's sore throat is barely there.
This is amazing.
What in the world? That is so good. Can I tell you that I am actually honored and touched that they did that? I mean, that's actually very nice of them.
It's AI generated.
If I don't see
It is not.
It is.
That's AI generated?
Yeah.
Dan, I need to see you in a commercial for Slippery Elm with this song in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Like a full-on production commercial style. I need that in my life now.
That's AI generated.
Yep.
Yep.
That is incredible.
They didn't get an actual jazz singer to do it. Looking at the lines.
Well,
like,
now
what is
I'm much
this?
less impressed.
I can just see like a jazz singer looking at the script of this, like look at the lyrics, going, "What is this?"
Did they do this live on the air?
They did it live. Like they closed the show with this yesterday.
Oh,
The radio show?
fantastic.
No kidding. Yeah. I got to go back. I'm actually very touched. That's actually very cool. Can I have a copy of that?
I can send it to you.
Yeah, send me a play for my wife.
She
hey, honey,
already
look
heard
what
it.
somebody else did that is really cool. Did you do anything? No.
It's just the praise. It's just the recognition.
No, it's very sweet. I actually that's very nice.
I think everybody wants to know, what kind of song are you going to write honoring Matt?
A lot of expletives will be in that one.
Which genre would you choose?
Which genre would I
choose? You can't go
choose?
smooth jazz. You need to do something else.
Heavy metal.
80s rock, hairband.
Country.
Murphy feels like a Metallica kind of vibe.
It does.
Doesn't
Enter
he sound like a
Sandman
Metallica
style?
Yeah. Enter Murphy Man. That's what we'll do. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. I don't know. Will you help me do something?
We should do something.
Yeah, we should do something.
Yep.
You know how to do that AI stuff, right?
I mean, I can see what I can do. I don't know if I'll be able to do it as good as those guys did it.
I don't know how they did that, but I will figure it out. We'll see if we can write a song for Matt.
Insider terminology here. Dan, it's in your A drive.
Oh, all right. Very good. All right. Very good. Well, that's very sweet.
We should just find clips of Murphy getting mad and roll it over a death metal track. Just like the ones where the guys scream all the time. And
You know
we
what?
should just have we should find a guy that can edit actual Murphy yelling over that.
We could get Matt's voice and we could AI it into screaming, and Matt could be the screamer.
We would have to AI it into screaming?
Well, maybe not. That's very funny. I don't know.
We should do something for him, though.
We should. We'll have to figure something out. All right, very good. 8:45. So just so you know, I was berating Chris, making sure that he was going to be here on time, because I'm at 8 hours and 45 minutes, and so I'm feeling a little sluggish, a little slowish. Last hour of broadcast hasn't been exactly up to my usual excellence.
They need to make throat coat with caffeine.
Oh,
you know they do. I don't know why
ace.
they don't. I wish they would, because I mean, there's only so much caffeine you can have. So
That's not true.
No, actually
Challenge accepted.
Have you not heard of my faux heart attack, Malinoff?
No, what?
I had a faux heart attack.
When?
Really?
Joan, did I tell you? I told you
You
this.
did tell
didn't
me
I?
this, yeah.
Also, you can have way too much caffeine. Didn't that girl die because of
Yes.
Panera lemonade?
I think she did.
Yeah.
I think she did. So there was a day. I forget if Amy's listening. Amy, she's probably sleeping. She's in the basement all night. But
Why'd you send her there?
tornado warnings, duh. But there is a day where I had my usual, it was a Saturday, 2 cups of coffee, and then she brought home some cool drinks. Unbeknownst to me, they were like caffeinated like you wouldn't believe. I'm just drinking them like they're, soda or whatever. Then I have the idea to go to Starbucks. Then, there she is. And then I end up in what was it? Hold on.
The emergency room? Was it the emergency room that you ended up in?
It was in the emergency room, yes. It was in the
Really?
emergency room. Okay. Here's what I had. because I swore that I was having a heart attack. Like, I'm at Home Depot, and it's like my heart is jumping out of my chest.
The sale was that good?
And I'm starting to perspire, and I'm calling Amy, and I said, honey, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Wait, you're at Home Depot, and you think you're having a heart attack, and your first call is Amy?
Yes, because I was asking
That's
for
his
permission to
emergency-
go to the emergency room.
I'm in the plumbing aisle.
So,
There's an 80% deal. We need to get this one. I
And
need to
here-
go to the hospital.
Here's the funny thing. So I'm having a heart attack.
Is your question, should I go to the hospital?
And so she's got me grabbing like big bags of manure because we were going to do whatever you do with manure. And so she's like, well, don't kill yourself lifting the heavy manure while you're having a heart attack, but make sure you buy the manure.
Priorities.
And that's exactly right. So I had Red Bull, Alani, which is, that's very caffeinated.
It's a fancy caffeinated drink.
I had coffee and I had Starbucks. So yes, I had all of that. And so I ended up in the emergency room.
What time of year was this?
This was just 4 or 5 months ago.
Was it hot outside?
No, it was more than that.
It had to be more than. It had to be maybe a year ago because
here?
It was mulch buying season. So
I'm just wondering about the smell of the manure that you had to purchase before you went to the hospital, then sitting in the back of your car for a few hours.
That was like smelling salts that kept him awake.
It was bad. It was bad. It was almost as bad as leaving. I've done this. It was almost as bad as leaving pizza in the back of your car on a hot day, and you accidentally leave it in the car. I've
how
done that,
long?
and my car smelled like an old boxing gym locker room for like in Little Italy.
It smelled like Italy for a while.
It smelled like Italy. Yes, that's exactly right. So anyway, there we go.
So that was the time you almost died.
What was the actual diagnosis?
No heart attack.
No heart attack.
Too much caffeine. That's what they said. They said you had too much caffeine. And so then I'm in the emergency room and I said to Amy, what if I had to, did I have too much caffeine? And then I just started going through my day.
Is it embarrassing when you're at the ER and you think that you could be having a heart attack and they say you just had too much coffee?
Very much so. Yeah, it is.
I
It is
bet
quite
they see that
embarrassing.
more often than you think.
That's a sobering experience.
Yeah, you know what else is embarrassing is, they hook you up to all the things.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
So I'm hooked up to all the things, and then they start pulling it off, and my hair goes off with the things. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. So, but I learned on that day, and I went home, and I said to Amy, good news, I didn't have a heart attack. And she says, what did we learn today? Number one, don't drink too much caffeine. And when my wife tells me to stop drinking caffeine, I should stop.
Yeah.
I love she's not like, thank God you're right. She's like, what did we learn?
Wifey right again. You ever get tired of the wife being right? Is that a problem in your? It's a problem in my house.
It's something I've just learned to accept.
Okay, and we know it's a problem in
That's a
Joan's
good
house.
man.
Wife's always right, right?
My husband is right 1,000% more often than I will ever be.
You know what's funny about that?
Terrible, yeah.
The job of a good wife is to make your husband think he's always right.
Yep. Yeah.
Just to,
She's good.
make him happy.
Okay.
That's what
there
Virginia
you go.
does. She leads me to the conclusion she wants me to arrive at.
Yes, that's exactly right.
She's like, you came up with that on your own. Very good.
Who wants some pie?
All right, it's 8:51. It's raining is all get out again.
Yeah, it's
I feel like this
waterfall-y.
is never going to stop.
It's not till Sunday.
It's going to be a fun drive back home.
You know what? It is going to be a fun drive for me because I am going straight home. I'm exhausted. So what do you got coming up?
Well, we will talk about Liberation Day. I'm not freaking out. Are you freaking out?
No, not really.
Yeah, whatever. Check the stock market in a month. We'll talk about the reaction to that. Also, I have a story about a young man by the name of Austin Metcalf. He was stabbed to death at a track meet yesterday. And the story's wild. It's going to be gaining some national attention, but I don't think the mainstream media is going to touch it, so we'll do our best to dive into it.
We got like 2.5 minutes. What happened?
So he was a 17-year-old kid, high school athlete. He's at a track meet, bumps into somebody, asks them to move. The guy says no, and then he gets stabbed in the chest. Dies in the arms of his twin brother. It was a situation that never should have happened, but it's in direct contrast to the narratives that we're told about evil white incels on the right. There's going to be no Netflix show Adolescence made about this because, well, the perpetrator happens to be African American. So they're not going to discuss this story in any way that they should, but we'll do it on WTN.
Okay.
Got a flash flood warning just hitting our phones. You guys getting this too?
All of them. I heard every one of our phones go off.
In effect until 12 p.m. Dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject to flooding or under an evacuation order.
Or getting Chipotle.
Or if you're going home to sit in your hot tub in the rain.
Right.
Is it Dangria? Is it Dangria kind of day?
They couldn't fit that into the whole message there.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm going to be doing.
Well,
and sleeping.
We'll be keeping you updated on all the latest on the weather as well all morning long.
All righty, 8:53 Nashville's Morning News. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, we're going to look at the stock market for you so you don't have to as trading continues today after the president's tariffs were imposed. Things started off pretty red, and we're going to take a look at it as it gets going here on the markets on Wall Street. That's all coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8:54 Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Matt is here. Listen, America's full of gun stores, but here in Middle Tennessee, my love for all things two-way is indeed the Glock store. Whether it is training, buying, or upgrading, you can count on the Glock store. You know, you can upgrade your Glock. And one of the reasons why Glocks are the most popular handgun in America is that there's so many custom and performance parts. You've got night sights and competition triggers and red dot optics. There's so many different ways to upgrade your firearm, and they can do it all at the Glock store for free. And while you wait, there's always a gunsmith on duty. Check them out today. You can find them online, shoot270.com, glockstore.com. Don't forget the big Glock store open house. It is going to be on Saturday, May 31st. All the details, shoot270.com and glockstore.com. All right, so I got a little cleanup to do.
A little.
So just so we're clear, I do know that if I get into the hot tub when there's lightning, I could indeed die. It wouldn't be a faux electrocution. It would actually be an electrocution.
We got so many texts of people warning you not to go in the hot tub. And then Dan looks at me and he goes, I know not to get in a hot tub with lightning. I'm like, you just told a story about almost having a heart attack because of too much caffeine. People are just honestly looking out for you like, hey, make sure.
Thank you, Monica and Chris and all the others.
Dan died doing what he loved, drinking dangrias in his hot tub.
That's exactly right. You know what? If you're gonna go in a hot tub
with the dangria. You can't forget that.
That's exactly right.
Got to hold that just till the last.
Don't
breath.
forget extra cherries.
That's right.
That is exactly right. All right, very good.
Imagine seeing that police report.
Real quick, KGB. What the poll was? Are you worried about the Trump economy because of the tariffs?
86% say no.
Okay. Had EJ Antoni on, and he wants to make some adjustments to the president's tariff plan. However, we're not worried. Are you worried? I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
No. In fact, I have a former economist, some audio from a former economist in the Bush administration, former Commerce Secretary, saying Trump's tariffs won't even be in place by the back half of 2025 because of all the negotiating that's about to take place.
I wholeheartedly agree, and that is a great point. All right, very good. Chris Hand is